Hey folks, welcome back again to Midwesthockey.info. This is my pro report for tonight, March 28th, 2017. Let's see, there's 6 games on tap in 3 different leagues. 3 in the NHL that involve Midwest NHL teams, 2 in the American Hockey League, and 1 in the East Coast League. And tonight, I'm going to start with the American Hockey League, where there's a couple of pretty huge matchups here tonight as the teams are approaching the end of the season. The first one, I don't know if you could get any bigger than this. The Charlotte Checkers are in Cleveland tonight to play the Monsters. They are the defending Calder Cup champions, but as of right now, they are out of the American Hockey League postseason. These 2 teams are ranked 4th and 5th in the Central Division. Technically, the Monsters, if they were going on the point system, would be 1 point ahead. They've played 1 more game than the Checkers. The Monsters are 32, 27, 3, and 4, which is 71. That gives them 71 points, while the Checkers are 33, 28, and 4, which would actually give them 70. But based on percentage, they're dead even. Both are at 538. 538 is their percentage, so they're dead even. Based on the fact they played 1 fewer game and have 1 more win, the Checkers are actually ranked 4th going into this game. The American Hockey League, I don't know if many people realize this, but the American Hockey League bases their standings on winning percentage rather than points. As far as I know, they're the only league that uses this system. They've been known to test out this kind of stuff. I know that they do have a bit of an issue in the American Hockey League because there's somewhat of an unbalanced schedule. The West Coast teams, the Pacific Division, I believe it's called, they actually don't even play the same amount of games as the rest of the league. I think most of the teams play 76. They might play 72 or less. So the percentage system is what they use. Charlotte and Cleveland are dead even on percentage. So whoever wins this game tonight will be officially in 4th place on the playoff bubble, while the other team will slide underneath and inherit 5th place. Head-to-head, the home team has dominated this series. There's been 6 games so far, I think. Was Cleveland that picked up the wins in the first 2 games on home ice, 4-2 and 3-2 back in December, right around Christmas time. But the Checkers have won the next 4. They won 3-2 in a shootout on January 13th, 5-3 the following night, January 14th, and then in another 2-game set in February, they won 5-4 in overtime on February 24th, and then 6-1. That's the most lopsided win in this series. That was on February 25th. So that's you can't really get much closer than that. That'll be a huge game tonight, and a lot of attention will be focused there. Almost as big, I suppose, is the Iowa Wild, who were in a playoff spot as recently as about a week ago. But they have been mired in a 6-game losing streak, or they were in a 6-game losing streak, including 4 straight against Charlotte and Cleveland. Those were costly losses, dropped them all the way to 6th place in the division, and obviously out of the postseason. They still have a chance to get back into it, but they need to win. They need to win, almost win out, I would think. The Wild will be looking to snap out of that kind of funk they're in when they start a 5-game homestand against the Rockford Ice Hogs tonight. The Ice Hogs, as many know, are in last place in the Central Division. These 2 teams have met 7 times already. This will, I think will close out the season series. The first 3 games were in Iowa, November 6th, November 16th, and December 26th. And then at Rockford, December 30th, January 27th, January 28th, and March 4th. The Wild have a 5-2 edge in the series, so they have had the edge, and they've actually won the previous 3 games between them and the Ice Hogs. So they are in pretty good shape there. So that sums up a pair of really major games in the American Hockey League. Let's jump to the NHL quickly. The Minnesota Wild, another team that's kind of been reeling of late. They have 1 win in their last 9 games, and they're 3-11 so far in March. This is a team that at one point looked like it could challenge for the President's Cup, and they were in first place in the Central Division, but they have since kind of fallen out of that and actually allowed Chicago to build up sort of a stranglehold on the division. It's not over yet, but I believe Chicago has a 6-point lead, maybe 7 now. Chicago lost in overtime last night, so I think it might be a 7-point lead. So it's all but wrapped up. The Wild are looking to hang on to second, and they should. But the main thing is they would like to, get a few wins under their belt and get ready for the postseason. I did a story a week ago, and I pointed to this game tonight. The Wild is playing at home against the Washington Capitals tonight, and I kind of pointed to this one as a possible Stanley Cup preview. Both teams at the time were leading their respective conference, and they appeared to be the team to beat. Both of these teams made trade deadline moves that cost them first-round picks. So they really threw their hat into the Stanley Cup ring, I think. Both of them making their intentions clear that it's kind of an all-or-nothing type season for them this year. So, excuse me, I really thought this was going to be an exciting match, and it still could be. I mean, Minnesota's got to snap out of this losing skid at some point. Tonight's as good a night as any. Same 2 teams met on March 14th. The Capitals won that one 4-2, but it was actually an interesting game. Capitals were up 3-0 at one point, but the Wild got 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of the third period to make that game a lot more interesting. And then I think it was Jay Beagle ended up scoring kind of the clincher down the stretch. But this should be a good game. Both of them have their number 1 goalies going. It'll be Doobie for the Wild, Devin Dubnyk, and Washington will be sending their top guy to the crease as well. So it should be an interesting match. It'll be interesting to see if the Wild can snap out of this funk that they're in. Another game tonight is Buffalo Sabres at Columbus. The Columbus is the team that finished 3rd from the bottom last season, but has had an amazing turnaround this year. They really have turned things around, and they are really in the President's Cup, among the teams playing for the President's Cup. But they're coming off a pair of tough losses last week, I think. But they picked up a 1-0 shutout against the Flyers on Saturday after dropping games to Toronto and Washington before that. They, like I said, have an outside shot at the President's Cup, but right now they I believe, sit second, or in a tie for second, in that Metro division, which is probably the toughest division in the NHL. The Jackets and Sabres have met 3 times this month, splitting a home-and-home series earlier this month. Columbus won 4-3 on home ice on March 10th, but the following night went to Buffalo and dropped a 5-3 decision. So it's should be interesting. This is the start of a busy stretch for the Columbus team. They're playing 3 times in the next 4 nights. They're definitely in the hunt. They're looking to finish as high in that division as they can. They're pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot, but first place overall is not out of the question at this point. Finally, the Red Wings will be at Carolina tonight, and that wraps up a a crazy 3 games and 3 night stretch, but so far it's been very successful. Andreas Athanasiou has scored overtime goals in both of the previous games, including last night at Carolina. The Wings are actually playing back-to-back games in Carolina. The Wings won in overtime last night. Athanasiou getting the game-winning goal, the clincher, and there's been most of the talk since then has been the way it was scored. He was cross-checked, I believe, as he was going to the crease. He was going hard to the net, and he ended up kind of crashing into Eddie Lack. The goal went in. It was a good goal, but Eddie Lack ultimately was taken off the ice on a stretcher. The word is that he's good. He's fine today. He is not going to play tonight, obviously, but he spent the night in the hospital, and he's out now. Seems to be okay, none the worse. Cam Ward will be going for the Hurricanes tonight, I believe, against Jimmy Howard. They met one time earlier this season. The Wings earning a 4-2 win. So the Wings are 2-0, looking for a series sweep. And that about does it for the NHL. Now, quickly to the East Coast Hockey League, Quad City at Wichita. The Mallards are looking to continue a 3-game winning streak against the Wichita Thunder. A team that's really struggled, in particular in the second half of this year. They're 18-40, 5-1. And they've met twice in the past week. Mallards winning both from 5-2 at Wichita back on March 22nd, and then 2-1 in overtime at Quad City just on Sunday. So they're looking for a series sweep, and they won there was one other meeting. That's right. There was one other meeting back in Quad City, February 26th. That one was also won by the Mallards. Mallards are 7-3-1 this month, and the Thunder has struggled. They're currently mired in a 6-game losing streak, and that's kind of the way things have gone for them all year. So that's all I have for now. I'm going to try to put out a junior tape coming up here, but I can see my time is running out, so I'm going to end this quick, and I hope you'll tune into my junior tape coming up. Talking about the NAHL and the NA3HL with a bit of a preview of the Silver Cup tournament. Thanks, folks. We'll have another one tomorrow. Thanks.